Welcome back, folks. My name is Hassan, and in this video I'm talking about the Sony a6600, the camera that I use to record these videos. Let's get into it. So earlier this year, I wanted to start a YouTube channel. Well, I wanted to start a YouTube channel for a long time, but I seriously thought about it earlier this year and I wanted to do something about it. So the first thing that was on my list was a camera. Now, if you go to the internet and try to find what's the best camera for YouTube, there are plenty of options. I keep in mind that I've never had a video camera in my life. I've used a few, the ones that you put on your shoulder and you put a cassette in and you hit record, the heavy ones, but I never owned one, and that was like years and years ago. So I knew nothing about different things like ISO, aperture, shutter speeds, what are those things. So I did a tiny bit of research and understanding about some of the camera things, and I wanted to get a camera that I could use for the next few years. By the end, I picked up the Sony a6600 for multitudes of reasons, and here's why. So the first things on my list was 4K. And that is purely because this is 2021. A lot of people have devices that can support higher than 1080p resolution, like phones, tablets, TVs, computers that can support higher than 1080p resolutions. So I'm like, okay, so even if I don't record in 4K now, if for any reason, I should at least have the option in the future, because these cameras are not cheap. So if I'm spending some money now, I might as well get a camera that I can use for the next few years. So 4K, and it has 4K. Now this doesn't have like 4K like 60 or 120. It has 4K at 25 frames per second. 25 because I'm in a PAL region in Australia, but it does support 24 and 30. I also wanted to make sure that the camera should have a good autofocus. And that is because, well, mainly it's too far. I can't reach the lens at all. Wow, my arms look really big. So the point is that I can't reach my lens. And the last thing I want to do is mid-recording, reach out and just change things. I don't know how people do. Probably they have wide-angle lens. I just want the camera to just do it for me. Like if I just do it like that, it should just focus. All right, so, and same with that as well. I'm not 100% certain if it's focused. My eyes are weak. Even if I move around, if I move back, if I tilt forward, it should keep me in focus without having any problems. I mean, the a6600 has auto eye focus as well, which is pretty neat. Yeah, so that's the second thing. The third thing, I'm actually reading my list over there. The third thing is color science. So I wanted to make sure that whatever camera that I pick should have good colors and should have good picture quality out of the box, and still allowing me to learn and grow and get into the picture profiles and LUTs eventually. But I wanted just to press the record button. Don't worry about the colors. I don't know about you, but I kind of like this picture profile, which is I've set the picture profile to off. So I'm letting the camera decide what colors it should pick. This means that I have less options to color grade in post, but I'm happy with what I get now. And all I do, by the way, is I just adjust the brightness, a little bit of a contrast, and a tiny bit of saturation. And these are the only three things that I have to touch in my video editing software. Now, the next thing was I wanted the camera to have a good lens. This is the Sigma 16mm f1.4. This is the same lens, by the way, that I'm recording here right now, and that, I don't know about you, but I kind of like it just because, I mean, I don't have any experience with cameras, but yeah, again, I love it. So there's another one as well that I don't have it here, which is the 30mm. I sometimes use it for taking B-roll. Next, I wanted a flippy screen, so I can flip the screen towards me when I'm looking at the lens, so I can just look at the actual screen and just make sure that I'm in frame, so I don't have to spend more money to buy a separate monitor. This does have a flippy screen. Now, this is where people are divided. In this camera, the Sony a6600, I can flip the screen up. It's a little bit of an awkward flip, so it's not like one swift motion you just do, so you have to do that. So there are three different hinges. And if I just turn the camera on, the idea is that you can view yourself. I've never owned a camera that has a flip out screen, so I wouldn't know which one's better. I like it. It does what I need it to do. I can look at myself like I'm looking at myself right now, and back to the lens. It's compact, and I think I showed you how small the camera is. It's pretty nice. I think you can see how, like, as compared to the lens, it's pretty small, right? It has large battery. It's the FZ100 type battery. It's the same that they use, or that the 7 series uses as well. It's almost twice or more than twice the amount of the A6400 or the A6100 size type battery. Finally, I wanted a camera to have a full frame sensor. I really wanted to get a full frame sensor because when I was reading about cameras, I found out the bigger the sensor, let me just show you the sensor. This is the sensor, the thing that's inside the square thingy. That is the sensor. The bigger the sensor, the more light it can take in, and it will perform much better, especially in low light conditions, and also for bokeh, the blur effect that happened, like the blurred background. But there was just one caveat: they were just too expensive. So when I started looking at cameras, that was just going outside my range, because not only the full frame sensor cameras were expensive, the lenses were even more pricier than the crop sensor cameras. I just couldn't find a huge difference when shooting in this situation where I'm sitting behind a desk and I have a bunch of lights on me and in the background, and it's not truly a low light situation. So I couldn't find a huge difference between the crop sensor camera like the A6600 and a full frame camera like the A7 III is the main reason where I chose the A6600. I have to say this video is not sponsored. I purchased this camera and the camera that you're looking at and that camera from my money. Nobody has paid to make me say any of these things. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify just to make sure that people are aware that I am not doing any sponsored content. I purchased these things myself as a hobby. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this camera? And if you want to know more about this camera, just also let me know as well, because I'm still learning about this, and it's gonna take me a long time to understand everything, especially because, well, this is my fifth video in 5th month. I need to maybe use it a little more to understand more options. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, what else do you want to know? And see you in the next video.